Hello, this is the next video in our series of how to build your apparel decorating business. Today we're going to talk a little bit about acquiring your first retail space if you haven't already done that. I know a lot of people will probably start their apparel decorating business in their home. Maybe they take over the garage or whatever, but at some point as you continue to build your business and your business continues to be successful, the time has come that we're going to make the jump and we're going to acquire a retail space. So I'm going to talk about some things to think about as you begin to look for and to make some decisions on that first retail space. The first thing I would tell you is try to get as absolutely much space for your buck as you can. I think for an apparel decorating business, you don't need to be in the high rent, on the main drag type, retail spaces. Most people are not going to walk in off the street not thinking about buying, custom apparel and stumble onto your store because you're on the main drag and decide, oh, I think I want some custom made shirts. Most people are going to seek you out when their business or company makes a decision. They're going to find you rather than just stumble upon you on the main drag. So you don't want to occupy the high dollar square foot spaces. You want to find spaces that are reasonable as far as the square foot. Again, try to find as much space as you can. You're always going to fill it up. In our business, when I sold my business, I started from scratch and had it for almost 10 years. And we moved 3 times. We started in about a 1,200 foot facility. We moved to about a 2,800 foot facility. And then last we moved into about just under 6,000 square foot facility. And each time it didn't take very long to fill up that space. So you want to get as much space as you can. Some things to think about. I would highly recommend that you have a showroom area. Something that worked really well for us is we had a spirit wear shop in which we pre-printed shirts and hoodies and quarter zips and stadium chairs and just about everything with the local high school's logos on them. And we did a really large business with that retail area. It also brought people in, and they bought maybe a shirt for their local high school for the football game on Friday night. And I think later, maybe 2 months, 6 months, a year later, they may have decided we need custom shirts for our lawn care business. And then they thought, oh, that place over there I bought my football shirt from is where I want to get my shirt. So I think that that can be a very profitable area. So if you're looking for your retail space and you can find an area where you could put your spirit shop, I think slat wall works very well. You can get a lot of stuff up on the wall with slat wall, and it's relatively inexpensive. You also, I think, want to have a little showroom area for sample garments, so people, when they come in and you're trying to tell them the difference between a regular 50-50 shirt and a higher-end tri-blend, or polos for embroidery, or the most popular jackets for embroidery, hats, things like that, that you have like a little showroom where people can touch and feel those garments and those items. I think that is very nice as well. So be looking for that. I mean, I don't, you'll have to obviously adapt the space. You find a space that the rent is reasonable and the location is fine, then you may have to adapt. But that would be something I'd be looking for. Something else, obviously, that retail space and showroom space needs to be a smaller area compared to your actual production space. Another thing you need to be looking for is what is the electrical in that space. If you're moving from your home, you probably still have a smaller dryer that would run on maybe a 220 outlet, and you got a flash. You're going to need some source of water to put a washout booth, that type thing. But electrical is very important. You want to think ahead. At some point, as your business continues to grow and you want to add an auto, is the electrical panel adequate? Or I would get an electrician to look at it, be thinking down the road. Because you don't want to have to spend 10, 15 grand upgrading the entire electrical in that building when you're ready to move with an auto or larger dryer, that type of thing. So I would really look at the electrical panel and what is capable or what can be done in this space. Obviously big open spaces for your production area is desirable. I know the second space we moved into was 2,800 square feet, but it was kind of chopped up. So probably, I don't know, we probably only had about 2,500 maybe good usable space because of the way the building was kind of chopped up with walls and things. So you want to think about that. The retail space, like I said earlier, doesn't have to be in the, you don't want it to be actually in that high square foot, dollar place. But obviously you don't want them to have to go back a gravel road or something like that either. So, is it accessible and where people can find you, if they're actually looking for you in your space. I'm in Kentucky, so I would suspect that our retail, what we paid would probably be less than maybe some areas of the country. Obviously, if you're in New York or California, you're going to pay a whole lot more space. But when we first started in our 1,200 square foot space, we paid, I think it was $1,200 a month for that space. We were in this little strip mall. For that space, we actually moved down like where there was like 3 little strip malls right in a row, and the same company owned all 3. So when we outgrew that first space, we moved to that 2,700 or thereabout square foot space, and we paid, I think it was $2,400 a month for that space. And then we moved to that about 6,000 square foot space. We only paid $2,500 a month, and it was not in as good a probably a location for retail. But again, we had established our business by that point. We had to put some money into this space. Like I talked about the electrical, we put about $15,000 in upgrading the electrical because we were adding a Anatol Volt auto, and it runs on electricity. We bought a much larger dryer, so we had to put some money into this space. But the rent was very cheap for the square footage that we had. So we obviously were probably very fortunate in that last space that we acquired. But, that might give you some idea of what to expect to pay. And then, like I said, in your area, if there's great demand, if there's hardly no spaces available, you're going to pay a lot more. If there are a lot of spaces open, then you may be able to negotiate. When you get into trying to make a deal on this space, particularly if there are spaces available in your area, I would look to try to make some deals with them. You might tell them, hey, we need to do, painting, and we can go put slat wall up, and we got to do this and that and the other. In other words, you're going to have to spend some money. I would be negotiating with them. How about, okay, we'll do a 3-year lease, but you give us the first 2 months free, or something like that, where you're going to get something free in exchange for signing some type of lease. I never wanted to sign a very long-term lease. I was always looking for about a 3-year term. I know the last time we moved, we signed a 5-year lease because we felt like that space was going to be, good for us. But when you move and say if your business takes off and you've signed a 5-year lease and you've outgrown that space in a year and a half, then you're kind of stuck. So I was always looking at about a 3-year term. Obviously, if you can do a little less, that would, 2 years would be ideal too. But you got to keep in mind, while that, you signing that lease, that protects the landowner or the landowner or the building owner, it also protects you, because obviously if somebody bigger and badder comes along willing to pay more, if you've got a 2-year lease and so they want to kick you out, you got to think about that too. But I think about a 3-year lease is probably about right. If something went wrong and the business is not working, it's probably going to take you, a year to figure that out. So you're not, so overextending yourself that you can't recover from it. And so that would be the case there. So, at some point you have to make the decision, are you going to go all in on this? If your business is going well, you will see a big jump once you go to that retail space, but obviously your expenses are going to take a big jump as well. So, I think that if you've built your business in your home or in your garage to a point, then I think you have proven that you can do this. So let's find that real retail space and let's jump in with both feet and let's make this business work. Hope this helps someone. See you on the next video.